Let's pay homage to the Venerable Monk Liaoming, to Master Sakya Zhen Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and to Master Dupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of group practice today, Guru Padmasambhava of the copper-colored mountain at Udayana. Small Tanzan Kettle, to the city, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. How do you do? Aisteru saranghe. Hola amigo. Te quiero mucho. Sugoin. Ichiban. Kimochi ii. Chumi. Bling bling. Konbanwa. Good evening, everyone. When I say, how do you do? Everybody's so quiet. I thought you were all falling asleep like me. So strange. Every time I sit on this Dharma throne, I would feel drowsy. As if in a dream world. And I would go to a very far away place and come back. So human life is like a dream. So Guru Padmasambhava is the main deity of our group practice tonight. So in Tibetan Tantrayana, in the early Dharma propagation, Guru Padmasambhava was the chief patriarch, and for the latter Dharma propagation period, it was Atisha. So we can say that Guru Padmasambhava brought Tantric Buddhism to Tibet, and he was highly revered by all four Tibetan schools: Nyingmapa, Kagyupa, Gelugpa, and Sakyapa. So he's highly revered as a guru. That's why the Tibetans refer to him as Guru Rinpoche. Actually, in my tantric studies, When I was in Taiwan, giving spiritual consultation after Golden Mother opened my divine eye, I give lots of spiritual consultations to people. And during this consultation, someone gave me a book with blue color cover, and that was a biography of Guru Padmasambhava, or the legend of Guru Padmasambhava. And after reading that book, I started to believe in Tantric Buddhism. So we can say that Guru Padmasambhava started me onto this. So he's also my guru who initiated me into Tantric Buddhism. So the physical emanation of Guru Padmasambhava. So he initiated me into my Tantric Buddhist studies, and he gave me a direction. And today, before the Dharma teaching, I would first share a joke. The grandpa is asking his grandson who's in kindergarten. The grandpa told the grandson, does the teacher start to teach you math? Yes. And the grandpa said, that's good. Let me test you then. This year I'm 80. So after the new year, how old would I be? And the grandson counted with his fingers. I remember when we were little, we used his 10 fingers to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 80 and fingers not enough, so I have to take my socks off. And you start counting your toes. In the beginning, you often do that. When you learn counting, and the grandkid replied, 79. And the grandpa laughed. How come? After the new year, I become 1 year younger. And the grandkid replied, because you often say to the other old grandpa next door, like in our age, that living 1 year, we have 1 year less. So 1 year less year by year. And that is true. Not increasing, but decreasing. your lifespan is decreasing. In this age, like Grandmaster's age, 1 year passes, then we'll have 1 year less. So now we will do the question and answer. From Malaysia. How do you pronounce this word? Never seen it before. Never seen this character before. Check your cell phone. This character is pronounced as ni. Someone called Lianhua Nisi from Malaysia. Wholeheartedly homage to Lien Sung Guru. I have taken refuge for 20 years, so that's an old-timer. And I have always been providing my service at the spiritual center, but I have often seen many problems with the people. So my question is, if someone is obstructing people to do body work, what kinds of effect will it create in our spiritual cultivation? I am very straightforward, and I often offend those selfish people with certain motives. So from the point of spiritual cultivation, should I follow them, or should I just distance myself from this commotion and do my own cultivation? Every time I would come across many problems with people. I remember I've said this before. Long ago, in Taiwan, I heard my higher up saying this, that any place where there is a human being, there would be gossips and conflicts. And chatters. So you said that you see many problems with people. It's not just in True Buddha School. True Buddha School has problems. Other schools also have problems. Don't think that because they don't talk about it, they don't have it. They exist everywhere. And we also say that everybody has their own problems. Every family has their own problem. from the smallest unit in a family, between siblings, within the family, that would be the smallest unit, to the workplace, to the religious groups, to your workplace, and then even bigger race, and then the biggest unit would be countries, between countries, and then the whole earth. Is there any place without conflicts and without interpersonal problems? Right? It's everywhere. Even when you're in schools, also at work, also in families, villages, and races and countries, between countries. That's rights and wrongs. And so from the viewpoint of spiritual cultivator, it is little light. So as an individual, we emit small light, and to bring the philosophy of the Buddha so we use the philosophy of the Buddha to change these interpersonal problems. Because the Buddha is the big light, and as Buddha's disciple, we are little light. We are small light, and the Buddha is big light. And if you're enlightened, this is not an issue, because human lives are just like a dream. Just like a dream. So don't put this in your hearts, or don't keep them in your mind to affect your spiritual cultivation. You cultivate spiritually the best you can to generate light. If everybody comprehends spiritual cultivation, there will not be any problems. There are some people who place what is the priorities. For us, the priorities is the Buddha Dharma, and the mundane affairs are the lesser priority. But many people place the mundane affairs as the top priority, so they have lots of this interpersonal problems. So you're straightforward, and you often offend people with certain motives. It's okay if you offend. You just do your own spiritual cultivation. And if you know people with gossips and conflicts, then you just distance yourself and cultivate on your own. That's what I would say. You know who has attainments? Milarepa in Tibet. He has the highest attainment in Tibet. Very high. How come he had such high attainment? Why is he so famous? Because he cultivated spiritually on his own in solitary in caves for a long time. He did not stay in the same cave for a long period of time. He often moved. So he practiced here and then moved to another cave. He often moved his residence, his place of cultivation. Because by staying at one place, it would be unavoidable to become a spirit. Because there are many schools who establish a school and they relocate personnel, because all founders of religions would know if you stay at the same place for a long time, you would become a spirit, like an essence. That's all I can hint at you. So most of us who live in cities, one day you also want to leave the cities to live deep in the mountains and to go into solitary retreat and to work very hard at your spiritual practices. Only then you would have attainments. To eradicate your bad habits, then you would attain the essence. I don't lie to you that this is true. That's why many founders of religious schools, they would ask someone to go to different places to become the abbot there. Because if they stay at the same place for a long time, they would start find benefits. So Lianhua Nisi asked the right question. So you want to abandon this conflicts, chatters, rights and wrongs, and just cultivate spiritually the best you can. Some people made the intention to do Bodhi work. Let me give you an example. When I was in solitary retreat and living in exclusion in Taiwan, I introduced a very wealthy man to the Taiwan Leizang Temple. At that time, I was in retreat, so I have not started spreading Buddha Dharma there. The Taiwan temple could not continue its construction. Everything was rusty and abandoned. And he went there, visited there. Everybody ignored him. It was empty. Someone appeared and ignored him because he looked very ordinary. And he was one of the 4 wealthy men of Taiwan. His family name is Tsai. One of the 4 wealthy clans of Taiwan. The Tsai family clan. I introduced him. He took refuge in me. He wanted to buy books, and I introduced him to go to the Taiwan temple to buy the books. So he went to the bookshop, and there was a referent. I will not say who, okay, but there was a Dharma teacher there. And he said, I wanted to buy books, and then that reference said, just go, take a look by yourself. And he was looking and looking. And then that reference said, hey, it's lunchtime. Come on, quick. How come you're still here? Why can't you leave? So that couple from the Tsai clan, how come you're still here? Hey, I want to go eat. Are you buying or not? And then she or he just left and closed. So that wealthy clan, and they came back and told me, and oh my gosh. They went there and they saw the rusty everything, and he wanted to donate and to build the temple, to finish the construction of the temple, because it was the temple of my guru. But through the encounter with that nun or monk who did not say that, hey, it's lunchtime, why don't we eat together? It's about time. And then afterwards you can continue looking at the books or introduce the books to them. Then they would be happy. And they could have built 10 temples easily. But no. So the couple came back and told me, hey, I had wanted to donate to finish the construction of the Taiwan temple, but after hearing what the reverend, the attitude and what the reverend said and did, no more. What can I do? I introduced them. So obstructing people to do body work. Same here. You see somebody new, they just ignore. Come and go as you want. Watch, perhaps there's a great benefactor. They had wanted to make huge offering, but they were treated so unfriendly. Anybody that shows up is our parents of a lifetime, of one lifetime. Remember, there was a family from Australia that got off at the bus stop down there. The whole family with lots of luggages, and they made a phone call to the Seattle Lechang Temple. We came from Australia, the whole family. and we want to go to the Seattle temple. Can you please drive us there? Come on, we're the monk. Very precious. Our guru told us we're precious. How could we drive for you? Lay practitioners. They were just at the bus stop down there, 1 block down, but they're carrying lots of luggages. And because they rejected, so they carried the luggages climbing up the hill all the way to the Seattle temple. They were going to stay here for 1 month, and then after they checked around, and it happened to be the afternoon group practice here. They were outside the doors there. We were all sitting inside, and they were outside the doors. And I was seated here at the Dharma throne. I actually stepped down and opened the doors for them to let them in. And I really apologize to that family. You know, Dharma teachers' reference are to serve the people, and the sentient beings are our parents from 1 lifetime. And because of Grandmaster, they finally stayed, and they had restaurants, so they cook dinners for us for 1 month. Do you remember this? Yes. Do you remember? Please raise your hand if you remember. This did happen. And on the Dharma throne, I apologize to that family. We should help each other. We should mutually give. Please don't offend your benefactors. Okay, that's about that question. 1 question leads to others. Question from Indonesia. Dian Hoa Mei Fang. How should I maintain positive thinking, yet at the same time doesn't appear immature and easily taken advantage of? How should one maintain positive thinking, yet doesn't appear immature and easily taken advantage of? This is a very philosophical question. Maintain positive thinking, but also not to be easily taken advantage of. Anybody can answer this question? This is a philosophical question. You can write a dissertation on this. If the school asks you to write a thesis on this, how can one maintain positive thinking, yet at the same time not to appear immature and to be easily taken advantage of? Please raise your hand and answer. The writings are very smooth and flowing, eloquent. How should one maintain positive thinking yet at the same time not to appear immature and to be easily taken advantage of? Anybody? Please help, Grandmaster. Give microphone. What does it mean, positive thinking? What? You're asking me? What should I ask? So does it mean that you want to be very scheming and calculating so that you're not taken advantage of? So it's the other way around. So what does this mean? So whatever he said, I don't have to answer anymore. This question is difficult to answer. This is a very philosophical question. You need to determine what is positive thinking and what is negative thinking. So, what kind of thinking is positive thinking? So that's a philosophical question. So that not to appear immature and to be easily taken advantage of. It's difficult to answer. Well, whatever he said, if I want to answer, if I have to answer, the best way is to be silent with no expressions on your face. I cannot answer your question. So you have to what kind of things are you asking? Because this is too broad, too general. Not to appear immature and be easily taken advantage of, then you should look smart. Very smart. Then just pretend to be smart. And you answer very smartly. Yeah. Perform smart. Sumu said, precepts, meditative stability and wisdom. That's good too. However, but can I give that answer to the question? It's not related. I don't know what you're asking, so just keep silent. If you don't want to appear immature and to be easily taken advantage of, then you just pretend you're smart. I have a package here at the post office, and why don't you come here and pick it up? And you can ask, are you a scam? To show that you're smart. You're a scam, you're fraud. Then you're smart. Then you would not be tricked. We have so many scams this day. Everywhere, including even in Africa. So many swindlers. And Taiwan is the origin of all scams and swindlers. And they're caught everywhere all over the world. They even scam in Africa, China, America, everywhere. They all originated from Taiwan, all over the world. We never heard of that fraudulent companies, but now we do all the time. After working for 1 month, I only discovered recently that actually I work for a scam company, a fraudulent company. So, Reverend Lian Ci already replied to you. From Malaysia. What time of day is appropriate for offering nectar water to the yaksas? After mantra chanting, should I directly sprinkle the water on the road? Or where would be more appropriate? Let me tell a joke. You can sprinkle it on top of the toilet. On the toilet. Whatever you sprinkle is nectar water. That's a joke, okay? That's a joke. That shows I'm very smart. There's a so-called day and night, and white night, or black night. Generally speaking, from the 1st to the 15th day of the lunar month, it's the white night, and from 15 to the end of the month is black night. And in one day, from 1 a.m. to 12 midnight. No, that's not right. Daytime. From what time? From Mao to Wu, the Chinese. That's not right either. Well, whatever. In the evening, at dusk, in the evening, when we do our night practice, that would be the best time to offer to the yaksas. That's the time. The time when you do your night practice. Before midnight, I would offer to the yaksas. From dusk to midnight, between dusk and midnight. Because in the daytime, we practice the yang, which is like yidam. And at night time, we practice protectors. That's dark or black. To practice protectors. You chant the verse. That's the mantra. After you chant the mantra, then you use the Vajra finger to bless the nectar water, and afterwards you sprinkle the nectar water on your porch or balcony, or on the road is fine too, on the grass, as long as it's outside. Outside would be fine. Outdoors, it has to be outdoors, not inside the house. Outdoors. The golden winged bird, be filled with the nectar water, offering to the yaksas and the wandering ghosts. This is the Vajra finger. This is the Vajra finger. And then you write a home on top of the nectar water. The Sanskrit home character. And then you sprinkle the water. Outdoors. Today I'm wearing this ring. I rarely wear rings nowadays, and only today I do. And then now you ask me to form the Vajra finger. This one is easier. This ring is easier. Then the water is right here. You draw a home character on the surface of the water. After you draw the character, that means the water now is nectar water, and then you sprinkle the water. And you do it between dusk and midnight. That's the answer to Motolang from Malaysia. How should I resolve the hindrances to the sleep and dream practice? Without visualizing, every time a thought appears, the light would gather at my eyes like two bright suns. Two bright suns. So I cannot fall asleep. I have to open my eyes and wait until the light disappears before I can fall asleep. without visualizing, every time a thought appears, that all the light gather at my eyes like two bright suns, so I cannot fall asleep. I have to open my eyes and wait until the light disappears before I can fall asleep. This is not sleep and dream practice. This is eye light practice. Ask ไปเรียน花枝棒 In the sleep and dream practice, let me teach you something simple. Om, hear the white light at the brow, and Ah, red light at the throat, and Hum, blue light at the heart. 3 kinds of lights. And you lay in bed, you close your eyes, not asking you to radiate light on your eyes. That's eye light practice. But you close your eyes. Typically, the Ah syllable or Ah character at the throat, radiating red light outward. And with the Yidam in the sky, also Ah, receiving your Ah. And this Ah fills the whole world. And then reflect back onto the Yidam. And the Yidam would emit nets of light to cover you, to become like a red net of light, and you sleep inside it. This is the sleep light protection practice. Simply, an Ah syllable at the throat, radiating red light to the sky. There's a Yidam in the sky appearing, absorbing your red light, and then radiate it to the whole world, so everybody can sleep well, and then absorb back to the Yidam, and then radiate another red light, net of red light to cover you. That's the simple sleep light protection practice. Very simple. But if you want to use 3 lights, this is white Om light to shine to the sky. This is my method. To shine toward the sky and stay there. And then here at the throat, Ah syllable, radiating red light, and then stay there. Merge together. And then the third, blue Hum, radiating blue light, and the 3 lights gather together. And then you use Bang character. It would be like a fireworks. So red, white, and blue lights would be shot and covering you and your whole bed. So by the Om Ahom, you strengthen the white, red, and light, and blue, these 3 kinds of light. And then you sleep amidst these lights. That's the sleep light protection practice that I do. Very simple. Om Ahom. Or just Ah syllable. Not emitting light in your eyes. If you have lights in your eyes, it would be too bright, then you cannot fall asleep. It's very easy for grandmasters to sleep, to fall asleep, even in the chair or standing, anywhere. If I want to sleep, 1, 2, 3, I would have fallen asleep already. Or even in the sleep protection, before I finish, I would have fallen asleep. And sometimes I would also chant Amitabha Buddha, being reborn into the Pure Land, transcending life, death, and suffering. Namo Amitabha. Because I'm getting ready that when I sleep tonight, perhaps I would leave the world. So I want to be reborn in the Pure Land, transcending death and suffering, and to take refuge in Amitabha. And then I would call upon Golden Mother 3 times. And then I would say Namo 36,119,500 Buddhas with the same name identification of Amitabha. Amitabha. And I continually chanting Amitabha, Amitabha until I almost fall asleep. And then I use Om, Ah, Hum, the 3 lights, to form a net to cover me and protecting me as the sleep light protection. Then fall asleep. So you can use my method too, what I just said, or my earlier description. So at night before sleep, I would chant Amitabha Buddha until I almost fall asleep, and then immediately I would do the sleep light protection. That's what I would do. The most humorous person is the driver examiner or officer. And the student driver was said, "Oh, I'm so nervous." And the examiner said, "No, the nervous one should be the pedestrian, because you don't move forward in green light, not in red light. So you don't like the color of the lights or what?" Oh, and the driving instructor asked again, as they were driving, "Do you see that person?" "Yeah, I saw him." "Then just drive over him and kill him." "Oh, I don't dare." And then the instructor replied, "If you don't dare, why don't you put on the brake? Why don't you step on the brake?" So the driving instructor was very humorous. Now we will talk about the 4 correct severances or cutting offs. This is instruction on the path of the 4 correct severances. In the fumigating practice of meditation continuum, the danger of periodically or continually experiencing the bliss of non-leakage, the sighting of the holy truth, the appearance of the Mara of satiation and indulgence, stalling without progressing, and muddle-headedness appear due to the start of affinity of the accumulation of the mind qi at the tip of central channel and the power of the externally formed A character. The major action of remedy is the four correct severances. Without these secrets, after a long time, obstructions will come. Also, the meaning is the real fourth empowerment. The verse in quote, latter accumulation period, end quote, refers to the mind chi, which mostly accumulates and clarifies through the ways of the 10 dakas, dakinis, samaya deities, and wisdom deities. The verse in quotes, opening the channel knots using the wind knife, end quote. At this moment, settle the pain of the channel chi and transform it into benefits. The verse in quotes, light drops gather inside the 6 areas, end quote, meaning the light drops accumulate inside the eyes and other 6 areas, as in the verse in quote, correctly know the 6 pursuits of thoughts, end quote, which is as in the eyes can see forms both far and close, far and near, and give rise to the leaking transcendent power without spatial divide. The verse in quotes, seeing some emanation bodies, end quote. Through the start of affinity of the pure ambrosia, one should be able to see 1 real emanation body to 10 real emanation bodies. The verse in quotes, practicing no faults, is as above. Here is the gathering of the start of affinity of oneself with the mudra. The verse in quotes, 4 correct severances, end quote, means the searching out, etc., of the 12 lotus goals channels, cutting off discriminating thought, is the correct severance. Thus, the mind enters deliberate action and correct reasoning to stop discriminating thought, using the body, speech, and mind and vajra sitting to cut off the discriminating thought, and using the light drops to restrain the chi to cut off the discriminating thought. Its meaning is to rely on the 4th obtainment of the 5 dharma of the 4th empowerment. It can be understood as the following 7 meanings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there will be explanation for each of them. What is the realm of receiving the empowerment? What is the obtainment relied upon? What dharma is relied upon to get to it? What is the start of affinity of the empowerment? What is being severed? What is the merit generated? An extremely brief explanation of the actual text. There will be explanation for each of them. Let me first talk about the beginning part. Why do we want to talk about this 4 correct cutting offs? When the mind and the chi are in union, merging and entering meditation, there would be all kinds of obstructions in the meditation. In meditation, there are obstructions generated. And how do you stop them? How do you stop the obstructions so that your meditation can continue and progress? So that the meditation can improve or progress. That's what it means. And you have to use these 4 correct severances or cutting offs. For example, is the experience of bliss of non-leakage. Because when the chi moves, it would generate great bliss. When the light drops moves, it would generate great bliss. When the inner fire moves, that would also generate the great bliss. If you are greedy of the great bliss, then that would be obstruction. When you experience the bliss, then you just enjoy the bliss and you don't meditate anymore. Or if you're drowsy and muddle-headed, that kind of phenomena will appear. That's also a kind of sensation or spiritual experience of meditation. But after that experience, you don't want to progress anymore, so it becomes obstruction. Now, do you understand? After you understand, then you want to stop this great bliss using the 4 correct severances, or the sighting of the holy truth. All of a sudden, you have realizations or enlightenment. So that's the ultimate truth, the holy truth, the noble truth. Like about the sufferings, the accumulation of sufferings, and the elimination of sufferings, and the path. That's the 4 noble truths. Then all of a sudden you realize, oh, suffering is the noble truth. And the accumulation of it is also the noble truth. And the elimination of the suffering is also a kind of the noble truth. And after eliminating the suffering, you see the true path. That's also a kind of noble truth. So the 4 noble truths, all of a sudden, you have the experience of the noble truth. However, after a long time, it would also obstruct your meditation. Therefore, you have to cut them off. And the appearance of Mara or satiation. So you would become Mara. This will become Mara. Why? Because you're attached to them. You like them. You grasp on them. Over and over and over, then they would become obstruction to you. You're stalling without progressing. So in meditation, can you be unmoved by your bliss, by your spiritual experiences, and continue to progress? Or being muddle-headed? So just now in Grandmaster on this Dharma throne, I was quite drowsy. And my mouth, my teeth was biting on my lower lips, so that I don't yawn. Because if I yawn, it would look horrible. So I bite my lips. So I use the pain of biting to stop my drowsiness. So why did I want to bite my lower lip? Because I don't want to yawn. Seated on the Dharma throne, kept yawning. That wouldn't look good. So I use the feeling of pain to stop yawning. So it's kind of similar in this. So you use all this to stop this kind of sensations in meditation. When the mind and qi accumulate at the tip of the central channel, and the power of the externally formed character, the form a little bit like the R character, and would generate power, and this would generate spiritual experiences. The major action of remedy is the 4 correct severances. Without these key secrets, after a long time, obstruction will come, and the meaning is the real 4th empowerment. So, it means the real 4th empowerment. Like when Grandmaster seated at the Dharma throne and feeling drowsy and I wanted to yawn, I bite on my lower lip to stop yawning. This is called severance, or cutting off yawning, cutting off the drowsiness. And then below is about the methods, how to cut them off. So the meaning is the 4th empowerment. So the process of cutting off is the 4th empowerment. Now, do you understand? If I don't talk about it, you would not know. But after explaining it, you understand a little bit. Without experiencing it, you will never understand. The verse in quotes, latter accumulation period, end quote, refers to the mind qi, which mostly accumulates and clarifies through the ways of the 10 dakas dakinis, samaya deities, and wisdom deities. Latter accumulation period. Anyone can explain this paragraph? Latter accumulation period. The mind qi mostly accumulates and clarifies through the ways of the 10 dakas dakinis, samaya, and wisdom deities. Anybody can explain it? Nobody that has not had the experience will not be able to explain. In my new book, I think I wrote that inside Grandmaster's body, there are many youth or children. Inside Grandmaster's body, at the brow chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, navel chakra, secret chakra, there are many youths or kumaras. In my newest book, have you read it? The latest book is The Most Efficacious God. Inside it, did I write that inside Grandmaster's body there are many youths? When the brow chakra opens, there are many small children chanting sutra there. Inside the brow chakra. In Taoism, it is said, at the brow chakra, there are so many, how many gods wearing what color outfit. It's written here that the mind qi mostly accumulates and clarifies through the ways of the 10 Dakas, Dakinis, Samaya, and wisdom deities. So what I meant is, like here, there are many little children accumulating here, and also at the throat chakra and heart chakra, navel chakra, and also at the secret chakra. And how many here? Do you know? And how many at the throat chakra? How many channels? There would be how many according to how many channels there. And at the heart chakra, there are 8 channels. So there would be 8 children. Oh, gods. So what are the 10 Dakas, Dakinis, Samaya, and wisdom deities? Wisdom deities come from the sky. The wisdom deities come from the sky. And they are in union or merging with the yidams in your heart chakra, the Samaya deity. So the ones coming from the sky is the wisdom deity. Is the Dakas or the father. And the ones inside your heart, the Samaya deity, is the Dakinis or the female. Some 16, 32 or 64 of them. So how many deities? Depending on how many channels. Some are 64, 16, 32 or 8. They all will appear. Dakas, Dakinis, in union inside your body. That's what it means here. The verse, opening the channel knots using the wind knife. At this moment, settle the pain of the channel chi and transform it into benefit. What does it mean? It's also difficult to explain. Each piece is very deep and profound. You know, this Lamdre over here now, you would not even understand or imagine it, even after I explain it. When you open your channel knots, there would be pain. And how to open the channel knots? You want to use the chi like a sharp knife to cut open your channel knots. Only then you would be able to open the channel knots. Like a very sharp knife to open the channel knots. And when you open the channel knots, there would be pain. But once the channels are open, then there would be benefits. That would be good. So after the pain, the channels would be open now. How many channels are inside your body? 72,000. And the most important channels, how many channels at your brow chakra, how many at the throat chakra, how many at the heart chakra, how many at the navel chakra, and how many at the secret chakra. They're all matching. 64 channels, 32 channels, 8 channels, 16 channels. At the base, 64 again channels. So there are how many channels at each chakra? You have to remember them. Master Lian Wang, do you remember? You don't? Actually, I don't either. I just know all the numbers 64, 32, 16, 8, and 64. Yan Xu remembers. If you have practiced it, then you know you have to open the channels. So you use the sharp knife of the wind to open the channel knots. When you're opening it, that would be painful, but it would become beneficial. The verse in quotes, light drops gather inside the 6 areas, end quote, meaning the light drops accumulate inside the eyes and other 6 areas. As in the verse in quote, correctly know the 6 pursuits of thoughts, end quote, which is as in the eyes can see forms both far and near and give rise to the leaking transcendent power. Don't read this, you would have big headache looking at these words. The 6 areas, meaning the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So the light drops gathering at the ears, at the the eyes, nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. Those are inside the 6 areas. Light drops gather inside the 6 areas. Eyes can see forms both far and near and give rise to the leaking transcendent power. So let me tell you, the light drops gathering at the eyes, and the eyes can see Taiwan if you want to in the meditation. Wherever the light drops gather, then you would be able to see. And the 6 pursuits of thought, what does it mean? So you use your thoughts to harmonize your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. When your thought or your mind is at the eyes, the light drops would be at the eyes. Then you would generate the leaking transcendent power, not the non-leaking transcendent power, because the non-leaking transcendent power is Buddha. But the leaking transcendent power is the short-lived transcendent power. Like if you want to see someone, your girlfriend in Taiwan, then you think about it. That what does it mean? Then in meditation, you gather your light drops at the eyes, and your thought is at that girlfriend. Then your eyes would be able to see that girlfriend. Very easy. If you want to see your parents and they have passed away, you want to see where your parents are now, that in meditation, you collect or gather your light drops at the eyes, and the 6 pursuits of thought, which is the thoughts of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Your thoughts is at the eyes, and to see your father and your father will appear what he's doing now. Even when he has passed away, you would be able to see him. That's called the leaking transcendent power. Now, do you understand Grandmaster's explanation like this? So you ask me, where are your parents now? Then I use my mind on your dad's, closing my eyes, gathering the light drops on my eyes, and place my mind on the eyes. Then I would be able to see where your father is. Then I can tell you which realm. Now do you understand? That's all for today on Mani Pemi Hum.